You might remember Charley Hull as the youngest player to hit the Solheim Cup scene. That was 20 years ago. Now, she's better known for missing birdies on the 16th hole, par putts on the 14th, and a bunch of other so-close moments. Since 2015, it's been one near miss after another. Can you believe that? A golfer who started swinging a club at 2 years old, missing shots like that. Yep, no mistake, 2 years old. While other kids were playing with blocks, Charley's parents handed her a golf club. And from that moment, her life became a roller coaster of a few wins and a lot of almosts. So, what went wrong? Let's get into the details, but before that, hit the subscribe button below. It won't take long, believe me. In our lives, we might have one or two big tragedies to deal with, but then there are people like Charley Hull who seem to have their whole life as one big, tragic saga. I mean, what do you expect a girl of 2 years old to be doing? Playing with toys, learning to talk, maybe figuring out how to walk, right? But no, Charley's mom decided that her little girl was destined for something else and handed her a golf club. Yep, from the tender age of 2, Charley started her journey into the sport that would soon eat up her entire life. By the time she was 5, under the strict watch of her dad at the Kettering Golf Club, Charley's talent was shining brighter than a diamond. Her parents, spotting her potential, pushed her harder than you'd believe, especially her mom, Basna Hull. This lady was no stranger to the world of sports herself. Having played tennis at the county level back in Poland, Basna knew the brutal demands of professional sports and was hell-bent on turning Charley into a golfing prodigy. But all this pressure came with a massive cost. When Charley was just 13, her parents made the mind-boggling decision to homeschool her. Why? So she could have more time to practice golf, of course. This move definitely helped her climb the ranks in the golfing world, but it also meant saying goodbye to a normal childhood. No school friends, no teenage fun, just endless hours on the golf course. And it wasn't all sunshine and rainbows. Charley later admitted that homeschooling was far from fun. She lost her school friends and found it tough to make new ones. The loneliness was a heavy price to pay for her dedication to golf. But Charley, ever the trooper, knew that to be the best, sacrifices had to be made. She kept her focus sharp and her commitment unshaken, even as she dealt with the isolation and the never-ending pressure from her family. Some people thought the decision to homeschool Charley was pretty extreme, highlighting just how much pressure her parents put on her to succeed. Sure, it paid off on the golf course, but it left a gaping hole in her personal life. As she started winning big in the amateur circuit and making headlines, the sacrifices she made became more and more apparent. Missing out on a normal childhood hit Charley hard. The friendships she couldn't form, the social skills she couldn't develop, all of these played a big role in shaping who she became. Her name was making waves in the golfing world, but the personal sacrifices were just as huge. The relentless training, constant travel, and the pressure to win were heavy burdens. But Charley kept pushing forward, driven by a desire to live up to her potential. And no doubt, she did great. Charley Hull sacrificed every smile and carefree moment to chase her dreams. Before we dive into why she later lost her skills, let's cozy up with some of her really great achievements. So Charley Hull's rise in the golfing world was nothing short of meteoric. By the tender age of 11, she was already a scratch golfer. She even snagged wins at big events like the English Amateur, the Welsh Amateur, and even the Harder Hall Invitational in the US. These wins didn't just show off her skills, they screamed that she was ready to take on the world stage. Fast forward to 2013, and at just 16, Charley made the massive leap to go pro. This decision was like jumping into the deep end of the pool with all eyes on her. The golfing world watched with bated breath to see if this young prodigy could live up to the hype. And boy, did she deliver. Her debut on the Ladies European Tour was nothing short of spectacular. Imagine finishing second 5 times in a row in your first season. That's the kind of stuff that makes headlines. Unsurprisingly, she was crowned Rookie of the Year, proof that her hard work and dedication were paying off. Her success on the Ladies European Tour came with significant personal costs. The physical demands were brutal. She had to endure grueling training regimens and manage the wear and tear on her body from continuous play. Injuries and fatigue were constant threats, forcing her to be super vigilant about her health and recovery. The mental strain was just as severe, with the pressure to perform leading to periods of intense stress and anxiety. Yet, despite these challenges, Charley kept pushing forward. Her historic debut at the 2013 Solheim Cup was a significant milestone. At just 17, she became the youngest player ever selected for this prestigious event. Her performance was stellar and helped Europe secure a historic victory over the United States. This achievement solidified her status as a rising star in the golfing world and showed she could perform under the most intense pressure. Now let me tell you about the moment when Charley's life went from bad to downright disastrous. So much so that she tried to take her own breath and was found locked in her house for days. It's truly a wild story. But hey, if you've made it this far, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I promise that little red box below won't take much of your time. So, as we know, every rise has a fall. But for Charley Hull, the darkness in her career never seemed to end. Her life on the golf course is one long string of almost and so close. It's like the universe decided to play a cruel joke on her, dangling victory just out of reach time and time again. Take the 2016 ANA Inspiration, for example. Charley was in the perfect position to grab her first major title. She was on fire, everything was clicking, and then bam, a couple of critical mistakes, and poof, the dream vanished. She finished tied for second, just one lousy stroke behind Lydia Ko. Can you believe that? A missed birdie putt on the 16th hole and a wonky tee shot on the 18th were all it took to turn her victory parade into a somber walk of what could have been. Fast forward to the 2018 US Women's Open, and here we go again. Charley's in the mix, looking like she might just pull it off this time. But nope, a series of bogeys on the back 9 sent her hopes spiraling down. Tied for second, again. This time, it was Arya Jutanugarn who walked away with the trophy. The nerves, the pressure, it all got to her. A missed par putt on the 14th and a bunker shot that went nowhere on the 17th sealed her fate. It was another chapter in her saga of so close yet so far. Then there was the 2021 AIG Women's Open. Charley was leading after the 3rd round, and it looked like this could finally be her moment. But then, disaster struck, a double bogey on the 12th hole in the final round. Her momentum shattered, and despite a valiant effort to claw her way back, she ended up tied for second, just one stroke behind Anna Nordqvist. Ouch. The emotional roller coaster of these near misses was taking its toll. Each one brought a fresh wave of frustration and a burning determination to figure out what went wrong and how to fix it. The emotional and psychological toll of these almost wins is massive. Being so close to major titles, only to have them slip through her fingers, is a recurring nightmare for Charley. The pressure of performing in the final rounds is immense. Every little mistake is magnified, and the scrutiny from fans, media, and herself is relentless. It's like walking a tightrope with no safety net. One wrong move, and it's game over. The mental strain of these close calls is brutal. Knowing that one tiny mistake can cost you the tournament is a heavy burden. For Charley, the cycle of getting so close only to fall short has been a constant source of frustration. The self-doubt, the anger, the disappointment, it's all part of the package. But every time she picks herself up, analyzes what went wrong, and gets back to work, determined to nail it next time. But do you know when did the most profound and least understood twist in her story came? Well, it was with her battle against severe ADHD. In 2023, she dropped the bombshell about her diagnosis, and the golfing world was shook. The stigma around ADHD in a high-stakes sport like golf just made things worse. People didn't realize the daily battles she was fighting. Let's break it down. So, ADHD on a golf course is like trying to read a book in a hurricane. During tournaments, Charley had to keep her head in the game for hours on end. But ADHD doesn't care about your schedule. It's all focus, never heard of it. So there she was, trying to stay engaged, and bam, impatience strikes, rushed shots, lapses in judgment, and those pesky moments of boredom. Every shot in golf counts, and a split-second distraction can mean the difference between winning and just missing the mark. When Charley opened up about her ADHD, the reactions were all over the place. Some people were like, wow, that's brave. admiring her for being so honest about a vulnerability in such a public way. Others, of course, had to be skeptics, wondering if she was using ADHD as a handy excuse for any slip-ups. It brought to light a big issue. Mental health in sports is still not given the respect it deserves. Everyone gets physical injuries, but mental health? That's still shrouded in stigma and misunderstanding. Despite all this, Charley never played the victim. Her ADHD wasn't a crutch, but a driving force. She figured out how to keep her mind busy during the dull moments, using tricks like focusing on small tasks or practicing mindfulness. These strategies helped her stay in the zone and keep those pesky symptoms at bay. ADHD has been a double-edged sword for Charley. Sure, it brought challenges that most of her peers didn't have to deal with, but it also made her tough as nails. The very traits that make ADHD tough, impulsivity, hyperactivity, and the attention span of a goldfish, also pushed her to innovate and find unique solutions. Her ability to adapt and thrive under such conditions speaks volumes about her grit and character. If you felt a twinge of emotion hearing Charley Hull's story, you'll understand why she's not often seen smiling. It's like she's a robot programmed for golf. Imagine failing an exam by just 1 mark. Painful, right? Now imagine that happening over and over, even though you've been practicing since you were 2. It's heartbreaking. What do you think? Share your comments below and don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like this video.